Hey guys, welcome back to Dragon Exotics, and today we will be continuing our audiobook series, and we're just picking up on Chapter 7 of Legends Turn to Ash, so let's dive right in. Thanks! Legends Turn to Ash, Chapter 7, Break Time. As the sun broke from his hiding and rose into the ever-changing sky, he cast heat onto the world. The heat radiated off my skin, turning the once slimy, moist mud into a crusty, messy substance. Compared to most of the mornings I've had, this one was particularly bad. I rose from the ground and looked at the sopping wet clothes clinging to my body. It was so uncomfortable and cold I felt like crying, but I didn't, of course. Why am I still wet? This is no fair. I didn't ask to be chucked into the water like some useless, good-for-nothing rag doll. You know what? I'm gonna have a little chat with Elzora. I don't care what she says. I'm going to convince her to take me... No, Jacer and Asher are coming too. Take us to a town so we can wash up and resupply. The last time I had a proper shower was at Asher's house, and it's been almost a week since then. I didn't even get to wash my clothes there. Alright, that is definitely the plan. Though, I have to wake them up somehow. I'll figure that out in a minute. Maybe I'll just go with it and see how things turn out. I couldn't help but notice Oogie out of the corner of my eye. He was curled up around Jacer as if he was the most fragile person in the universe. Even as he slept, I could see the sadness written all over Oogie's face. That reminds me, Oogie isn't like Elzora, or Zephyr, or any dragon for that matter. He didn't even grow up around his own kind. Now that I think about it, he probably grew up around humans, since that's who lived around the radiation plant, even after it blew up. It's kind of weird how he has a shell. I mean, could it have been a type of radiation mutation? Maybe. Maybe it was a weird, out-of-place gene? Either way, I feel sorry for him. From what I could see, Jacer probably hates him along with anyone he's ever met, and yet he still cares for him. He even went out of his way to lead us here through that cool dream power he has. The first time he used it, we were bonded by his fear, and the second time we were bonded by his sadness. I want to help him somehow, but I just don't know what to do. I guess I'm still a little annoyed that he knocked me into the gross, disgusting, bacteria-filled swamp water, but I can't hate him for that. Okay, I really need to stop thinking so much. I'm wet, and I need a shower. That's all I need to think about right now. Elzora, wake up. We're leaving, I shouted, attempting to sound confident and fierce. Her ears twitched, her eyes blinked, and her wings burst open. Aw, that's cute. You're trying to act tough. It's about time you started gaining some confidence. I can't stand having weak friends who can't say what they need to say, right then and there. What's the plan? Friends. The word rang in my head for a moment, and then traveled into my heart. It felt good, and for the first time I realized Elzora did care for me, and had developed at least a little respect for me over the weeks we had been together. I smiled at her, and glanced over at Oogie and Jacer, who were rubbing their eyes awake. Alright, here's the plan. Let's go catch up with Zephyr and Asher, and head over to the nearest town or city. If we're going to do anything, we need to resupply, and definitely take a shower. Don't question it, that's just what's happening. Let's go. Jacer, still half asleep, climbed onto Oogie's back with no comment, and held on tight as he lifted into the air. I excitedly hopped onto Elzora as she gracefully pushed herself off the muddy soil in search of others. It only took a minute or two to spot Zephyr and Asher staring off into the distance. They both seemed hopelessly confused. As we descended to land, Jacer had fully woken up and was shouting questions. Where am I? Where did you take me, you little chicken? Who are those people? Why are there so many dragons? There's like 3 of them now. Somebody better explain before I kill someone. Unexpectedly, he leaped off Oogie mid-air and perfectly landed next to Asher, who instinctively screamed. Oogie sighed and smiled embarrassedly as if Jacer's actions were somehow his fault. Jacer took hold of the collar of Asher's jacket and pulled him close. Who are you? He screamed. With a swift slide of his tail, Zephyr whacked Jacer backward and moved Asher, who was frozen with fear, aside with his talons. Well, if you must know, my name is Zephyr, and that tiny little human is Asher. The real question is, who are you? Still sitting on Alzora's back in the air, I could hear Jacer's creepy laughter in the distance. Cracking himself up with laughter, he pointed and wiped tears of joy off his eyes. Ha! Your face was priceless! I'm not crazy enough to kill random strangers out of nowhere. I mean, I could, but I don't feel like it right now. You guys are hilarious. Anyway, I'm Jacer, and that chicken over there is Oogie. He does realize that Oogie is a dragon, right? Why in the world is he calling him a chicken? I'm seriously not too sure what to think about this guy yet. He's either a psychopath or just really dumb. Silence filled the air as we all blankly stared at him, dumbstruck. As usual, Asher was the first to break the silence, even though he was still a little terrified of the newfound friend. Where were you? We woke up and you both were gone. It was kind of worrying. Alzora smirked and directed her eyes toward me. This one over here can explain the whole situation. It's not a big deal. I just went for a little walk, and long story short, I happened to run into Oogie and Jacer. Never mind that. We're heading into the next city to get some supplies and clean up. And when I say we, I mean you and Jacer too, because you guys stink. So yeah, let's go. Alzora and I are already set. Hey, Jacer interrupted out of nowhere. Why do I have to go? I don't even know you guys. Oogie swooped down and threw Jacer onto his back as he rose into the air. Don't worry, I'll explain on the way. Asher and Zephyr soon followed, and we were back on our never-ending flight path. A short time had passed, but throughout our flight, we explained the whole situation that the Earth and we were in to Jacer. However, his reaction was a little unexpected. Okay, shouldn't be too hard. Pretty sure I can bash some heads in, right? Like, there's bound to be someone I can fight, right? As long as it's not me, Asher said quietly. Hey, what is with you and fighting people? I mean, you are so obsessed with it that you attempt to attack random people in your sleep, I chimed in. Asher turned toward me confused. What exactly happened last night? Both Jacer and I coincidentally replied with, nothing. I couldn't help but laugh at last night. It's so stupid. Despite still being damp and dirty, I continued to laugh at the stupidity of the scenario. Whisper, now you're doing that creepy laugh too. Should I be worried about you as well? Asher asked, concerned. Alzora joined our little conversation at this point. Psh, you should always be worried about her. I declared her insane the day we met. Now that we're all together, I may just have to say that you are the sanest of us all, Asher. Then again, I'm pretty awesome and obviously the most intelligent of the group. I'm not insane, I argued. If anyone's insane, it's you, Alzora. Plus, you're always picking a fight with Zephyr. It's almost like you're flirting. Zephyr glanced back at us, slightly alarmed, but before he could say anything, Alzora defended her case. I never, I would ever flirt with that heap of charcoal. How dare you even say something like that? Excuse me, pitiful human. What would cause your tiny brain to manufacture that ridiculous idea? I would never even think about flirting with that frozen flying worm. Leave me out of this, Zephyr stated, holding his snout upward. From the rear, Oogie cracked up laughing so much that Jacer had to lean forward to hang on. Soon after, we all followed. Even Zephyr ended up laughing a little. This was one of those moments that was never meant to end. I wanted to stay like this forever. This feels good. Even though we have our differences, we all can still have fun together and joke around. I don't want to lose this kind of genuine laughter. It's just too amazing. It means we're all bonded in some way, and I don't mean the legend. We all came together and we ended up being friends. Sure, we yell at each other sometimes, but we each have some sort of appreciation for one another. Even for Jacer, who I know nothing about. I just know that I appreciate his willingness to be with us right now. The fact that the earth is eroding as we speak doesn't seem to have fazed him at all. That's kind of admirable. We continued to chat, race, and have all sorts of fun all the way to our destination. When we finally landed, I noticed that the city was more like a small town, but at least it had a motel and a grocery store. Where are you guys going to hang out until we're done? I asked Alzora. Oogie was the one who ended up replying to my question. Look, there's a forest over there. If Zephyr can manage to not burn anything, I think it'll provide us with decent cover. Sorry if it's a bad idea. I can control my flames just fine. At last, I have managed to get them to obey me. Zephyr growled, annoyed by Oogie's statement. Alzora just snickered and added, Yes, that will work fine. Just don't be too long. You know how that makes me feel. There it was, the devious, terrifying smile that I had been waiting for. Nevertheless, I confidently said, Yep, we'll be back by dusk. Turning to Asher and Jacer, I nudged them and started walking. Come on, guys, let's go. We ended up walking into town as a group and received quite a few odd expressions from the townspeople. The town was green all the way around and filled with tons of peach trees. Okay, there's only one grocery store, so I guess we can split up in there and get some supplies for ourselves. Though I'm pretty sure there won't be much to buy, I said, trying to take charge. The three of us stood in front of the store for a second and took in our surroundings. Question? What are we buying this stuff with? I'm broke, Jacer asked, pulling his empty pockets out of his pants. Asher sighed, almost as if he were going to say the exact same thing. Seriously, guys? I guess I can help out this one time. Just find whatever you need and meet me in the checkout section, I said. Jacer and Asher smiled and high-fived, then excitedly ran into the store. Since when did they become best buds? I'm not too sure that Jacer is a good influence on Asher. Let's see. Okay, so after we finish shopping, I can see if the motel here will let us stay in a room for a couple hours. It shouldn't be too expensive. I wonder if they have a laundry room there, because that would be awesome. Oh, crap, I better get in there and keep an eye on those two. The store was even smaller inside than it looked on the outside, but at least it was clean. Quickly, I noticed Jacer and Asher laughing at some toy on another aisle. Okay, I think I'll grab some extra water, just in case, and some snacks for our flight. These chocolate-covered pretzels look really good. I'll just grab a couple. This rope is like 50% off, but I don't really need it. Then again, who knows? Into the cart you go. Snacks, check. Water, check. Useless item, check. Alright, this looks good. Let's see where those boys are. It only took a minute for me to spot Jacer and Asher waiting by the first checkout line. They both got snacks, but for some reason, Asher picked up a flash drive as well. I guess he checked the useless item part of his list as well. My dude, you have enough to cover this, right? Asher asked, politely. Of course she does. She's probably rich, Jacer interrupted before I could speak. I rolled my eyes at his stupidity once again. I'm not rich. I just happen to have some money on my debit card before I came here. I don't know how you guys spent your school year, but I took whatever work I could get to save some money. Throughout the checkout process, the old, straggly employee was chatting away with a younger employee next to her. Did you hear about that guy who passed through here? She asked. The other employee nodded, and in a low voice he answered. The one who disappeared at the haunted island? The fragile ancient lady nodded her head as she continued to ring up the supplies. It's a shame. So many people have been going missing there lately. There's no way I would even visit the Atlantic Ocean knowing that man-eating island is there. Part of me wanted to so badly ask about the island they were talking about, but I didn't want it to look like I was eavesdropping, even though I kinda was. As we all walked out the door, I couldn't help but escape into the safety of my own mind. It's probably nothing, but why would they be talking about an island that's not even here? If what they said is true, Then something is definitely going on. I guess we can check out the area if we find no other leads. Maybe I will get some sort of vision telling us where to go. Then again, those don't happen too often. I guess there's no use in thinking about this now. I am so excited to take a shower. My thought bubble was interrupted when I felt a light tap on my shoulder from Asher. Where are we going now? I smiled, a little embarrassed. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I told you guys. We're going to a motel to do some laundry and take a shower, mostly because we all stink, including me. Actually, I've been wearing deodorant, perfume, and dry shampoo, so I'm probably not that bad. I need a shower because I'm still wet and dirty from when Oogie accidentally pushed me into the swamp. Asher stared at me blankly for a moment and chuckled. So that's what happened. I was wondering why you were so dirty. You reminded me of my flightless kiwis from home. I could only hear Jacer snickering in the distance. Ha! I wish I would have been there to see that. I guess my chicken can do something right after all. We continued to walk for a while, talking back and forth until we reached an old-looking brown and white motel. Is this the place? It's pretty run down, stated Jacer as he judged the small building. It's just until we finish our laundry and I'll take showers. Oh, by the way, I'm taking one first, I shouted as I ran into the building. A well-kempt young lady ran the front and welcomed us in. How may I help you today? Hi, I was wondering if you had any rooms open just for a few hours. We can't spend the night, but we would really appreciate a room so we can have a shower. I have money. The young woman fiddled with the computer for a second and replied, All right, one room. Actually, there aren't many guests this evening, so your timing was great. Do you have any other questions? Nervous, I handed her my card and asked my next question. You wouldn't by chance have a laundry room, would you? She smiled once more, and with more typing on the computer, she scanned my card and printed the receipt. Yeah, each load of clothes is about $1. I gave you the room right next to it. Please enjoy your stay. Thank you. I grabbed Jacer and Asher, who were staring at the Picasso paintings on the wall. The room's ready. We headed into our room, and the first thing I did was my laundry. While the laundry was running, I took my nice, warm shower. I could feel the clumps of dirt running off my body as I ran my hands through my hair. Few things in this world could beat the feeling of cleanliness. The moment the water ran onto my knee, I was reminded of the scratch I had somehow managed to get back at the swamp. It was relieving to know that the soap and water were keeping it safe and clean. Once I finished showering, I brushed my teeth and hair and waited on the bed for my clothes to dry. It was awkward wearing a towel for that long, though. As soon as my clothes were dry, I slipped on my pants and a shirt with a jean jacket. I decided I would wait until the last minute to put on my socks and brown boots. Asher and Jacer didn't bring much laundry, so I washed their clothes together as they showered. I packed my supplies into my bag while dealing with the total boredom. It was almost the longest hour of my life. At last, we were ready to leave the motel, and good thing we did too, because it was almost already dusk. Quickly, I slipped on my aviation goggles as a headband and alerted the boys that we were ready to go. As we hurried out of the town, we felt a tremor beneath our feet, and I stopped. Asher stopped as well. Are you okay? Worried, I asked, Did either of you hear or feel that? Before they could open their mouths, the ground began to shake and rumble. The once fresh and lively peach trees had fallen to the ground. I could overhear the townspeople screaming and scattering, unsure of where they should go. We were experiencing an earthquake, but it didn't feel right. Plus, as far as I knew, Georgia wasn't known for tons of crazy earthquakes. Does this have something to do with the legend? Is this all happening because we finally all met together? I mean, the planet has been eroding, but not nearly to this extent or this often. Until now, I've barely noticed. Is this all our fault? I didn't have time to focus on thinking. I could barely focus on standing up. Hurry, we have to get back to Elzora, Oogie, and Zephyr. Both Jacer and Asher nodded, and we all booked it toward our friends. Oddly enough, once we reached them, the tremors came to a slow stop. Well, that was a weird earthquake. What have you all been up to? I asked, trying to act like everything was normal. Elzora was the first to answer. We learned quite a bit about Oogie and how we are the first dragons he's literally ever seen, other than himself and his mother. We also learned how to give you humans powers, which could be useful. Oogie, believe it or not, had some useful information. Elzora, please tell me that you didn't threaten him or interrogate him to gain this information. Zephyr stepped in and touched Asher's mark on the back of his neck with his talon. First is you, my friend. Now it may sting a little, but just deal with it. Zephyr closed his eyes and concentrated on Asher. Asher whined for a second and then looked at Zephyr, confused. Well, did it work? Zephyr shrugged. I am uncertain. But close your eyes and envision a fireball in your hand, one that you can control and that cannot harm you. Asher immediately, excitedly held out his hand and did as Zephyr instructed. First came a spark, and slowly but surely, a round flame appeared in his hands. Asher's smile filled his face as he opened his eyes to admire the fire. This is so epic, my dude! Biting my lip and smiling, I begged Elzora to do me next. It felt strange when she grabbed my hand. It was as if a surge of power had risen within my body. Clenching my fist, I closed my eyes and envisioned that I was shooting a long burst of ice fire from my hands when I opened them. My vision came to life, and I created a small layer of ice on the grass. Thank you so much, Elzora. I could just hug you. Actually, maybe not, but thank you. Elzora smiled, happy to be appreciated, and asked, Where to now? It's almost dark outside, so we should get going. Okay, so this is an odd request, but can we check out a haunted island in the Atlantic Ocean? I think it's towards Spain. I read something about it in an article, I replied. Zephyr raised his eyebrows, amused. I do not understand how you find out about such odd places, but I believe there would be no harm in checking it out. Well, besides wasting time, of course, or risking the Earth destroying itself, or us destroying it, Oogie added, paranoid. Quickly, we mounted the dragons and headed northeast. It took a few hours to get into the area of our destination, but we ended up sleeping most of the time, so the journey went by fast. Below us was the raging Atlantic Ocean, and above us were the roaring winds and storm clouds. The clouds were so gray and dark that it was hard to determine whether it was night or early day. Whatever it was, the atmosphere around us was frightening. Any idea what island this is? Elzora shouted against the storm. I have no clue. At that moment, I felt lightheaded, as if I was going to pass out, but I didn't. It was fuzzy, but I could see an island with a pointed mountain in the middle, as well as two smaller ones on the sides. My ears rang with the screaming cries of a dragon. With another blink, I was in a building, witnessing the torture and murder of a jade-colored dragon chained to a wall. A young man stood next to the dragon holding a gun-shaped object that seemed to be sucking a green aura-like substance from the dragon and transferring it into the device. You are useless to us now, the man declared as he spoke. He shoved a long spear through the dragon's chest. The dragon attempted to pull the spear out as blood seeped through the wound. Buckets of blood poured to the floor as the dragon writhed in agony. Help, he quietly whimpered. Please, someone help me. I don't want to die. I have people and dragons to look after. I did everything in my power to move, anything that could get the dragon out of that situation. But nothing happened. I remained where I was, my eyes fixed on the miserable dragon. He coughed up a mouthful of blood and drew his last breath. His words echoed in my mind as I shook my head, traumatized. I couldn't make out what he was trying to say. Hey, snap out of it, Elzora yelled, noticing I was pouring my eyes out in what looked to be a blind trance. Raindrops fell onto my face, one after another, and I didn't know what to say. One moment I was watching the excruciating death of a dragon, and the other I was back onto Elzora's back. "Whisper, talk to us." Thunder drummed, and lightning rolled through the sky. The wind almost swept me away with it. "What was that?" I whispered to myself, with tears still running down my cheeks. "What was that?" "What was that?" Elzora asked back. "I think I just had a vision. A horrible, horrible vision. Someone cruelly tortured and murdered an innocent jade dragon. He stole his power, the power and spirit of a dragon. A human being destroyed a dragon on the island directly in front of us." As tears blended in with the rain rolling down my face, I continued to shake my head in denial. The rain fell harsher by the second, yet all anyone could do was hover in the air in shock of what they just heard. Alright guys, that's it for Chapter 7 today, and I hope you'll join me next time when we do Chapter 8. But have a great day. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Bye!